So today, we're going to dive into a real heavyweight of American literature, Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman. And let me tell you, this play is this really profound and honestly pretty painful look at the American dream and what happens when that dream becomes a nightmare. It's all about one man's tragic chase for a life that, well, maybe was never meant for him in the first place.
You know, this quote from Willy's neighbor Charlie, it just hits you, right? He's a man way out there in the blue, riding on a smile and a shoe shine. Just picture that for a second. This guy just floating out there, completely lost, with nothing to keep him going but a fake smile and shiny shoes. That's it. He's just trying to keep up appearances while everything around him is falling apart. And that, right there, is the heart of Willy Loman's whole struggle.
All right, so let's get right into it. Who is this guy at the center of it all? Willy Loman. He's 63 years old, and he's been a traveling salesman his whole life. I mean, his entire adult life. But the thing is, the road's worn him down. He's tired. And the world he thought he understood, the world he built his whole identity on, it's just disappearing.
I mean, right from the very beginning, you just know something is seriously wrong. Willy gets home early from a trip, and he's not just tired, he's lost. He literally can't even keep his car on the road in his own neighborhood. And it's not just physical. His mind is starting to crack. He's having these super vivid daydreams, almost hallucinations, where the past, this shiny, happy past, is crashing right into his miserable present.
And that's the thing. It's like we're seeing two different Willy Lomans. In his head, in these flashbacks, he's the man. He's a big-shot salesman. His sons worship him. The future is wide open. But then, bam, we're back in reality. And in reality, he's washed up. His sons barely talk to him. He's just haunted by failure. And that massive gap between the man he thought he was and the man he actually is, well, that's where the whole tragedy lives. And you gotta understand, Willy isn't just self-destructing in a vacuum. Nope. He's dragging his whole family down with him. You've got his wife, Linda, who is just fiercely loyal, defending him at every turn, even as she sees him falling apart. And then there are the sons, Biff and Happy. They're grown men, in their 30s, but they're completely lost. They're basically paralyzed by the ridiculous, impossible expectations their dad saddled them with. So, this whole family mess really gets us to the absolute core of the play, this brutal takedown of the American dream, or more specifically, Willy Loman's twisted and frankly dangerous version of it.
Okay, so what is the Loman philosophy? It's actually pretty simple, and it's totally flawed. For Willy, it's all about style over substance. It's not about working hard or being smart or having a good product. No, it's all about being well-liked. He hammers this into his sons over and over. If people like you, if you've got charisma, you'll make it. Everything else, hard work, honesty, actual talent, piff, details.
And you see this epic clash between his dream and his reality playing out constantly in his mind. One minute, he's in the present, getting fired by a kid who's his boss. Absolutely humiliating. The next, wham, he's back in the past. He's reliving the good old days when his son Biff was a football hero. Or he's having these made-up chats with his long-lost brother, Ben, who is the symbol of wild, adventurous success. Everything Willy ever wanted to be, but wasn't.
So, it all leads to this massive question, right? If being well-liked is really the secret to success, then why is Willy's life a complete and total train wreck? The answer, and it's a big one, lies in his broken, painful relationship with his son, Biff.
Yeah, this tension between Willy and Biff, it's basically the engine that drives this entire play. There's the secret, this deep wound from years ago that had just poisoned everything between them, and it's poisoned the whole family too. Think about it. Happy, the younger brother, he's still trying to live out his dad's phony dream. Linda, the mom, is just trying to hold the fantasy together. But Biff is the only one who knows it's all a lie. He sees that their whole family life is built on sand, and he's the only one who's completely suffocating under all that pressure. So you have to wonder, what happened? What could possibly have happened to turn Biff, this golden boy football star who absolutely adored his dad, into this lost, broken man? Well, it all comes down to one single life-destroying moment when Biff was a teenager. Here's how it went down. It's heartbreakingly simple. Teenage Biff is on the verge of getting a huge football scholarship, but he fails math. So what does he do? He goes to Boston to find his hero, the one person who can fix anything. His dad, Willy. But he shows up at the hotel room by surprise, and he finds Willy with another woman. And just like that,
in that one single moment, his hero isn't a hero anymore. His whole world, his whole future, just shatters. And when Biff screams, "You fake! You phony little fake!" Man, it's about so much more than the affair. It's the sound of his entire universe collapsing. He realizes that everything his dad ever taught him, all that talk about being well-liked and having character, it was all a lie, a sham. The great man he looked up to was a phony. And from that day forward, Biff just quits. He quits on the dream, and he quits on himself.
Okay, so that discovery really sets up the play's devastating final act. Willy's mind is just completely gone at this point, and he latches onto this one last desperate plan. He becomes obsessed with leaving something behind, anything, to prove that his life actually meant something.
They have this final, explosive fight, and Biff finally just lays it all out. He tells Willy, "Dad, you're not some big shot, you're just a guy, and that's okay." He even breaks down crying and tells Willy he loves him. It's this moment of pure, honest connection. But Willy, he completely misreads it. He hears "I love you" and thinks it means he is a great man after all, and that Biff's love requires some grand final gesture from him.
And that grand gesture? It's $20,000. That's the value of his life insurance policy. You see, in his totally broken mind, Willy convinces himself that killing himself isn't an act of failure. No, it's a business transaction, a final sale. He truly believes that this money will be the thing that finally makes Biff a success. He is cashing in his own life to keep the fake dream alive.
But the funeral? Oh, the funeral tells the real story. It's the final, brutal truth. Who shows up? Just his family, and his one real friend, Charlie, and Charlie's son. That's it. All those hundreds of people he bragged about knowing, all the buyers from New England who supposedly loved him, nowhere to be seen. In the end, the man who based his entire life on being well-liked died almost completely alone.
So what's Willy's legacy then? Well, it kind of splits right down the middle and lives on in his two sons in completely opposite ways. Biff, he's finally free. He's rejected the lie and he's going to go find a real, honest life for himself. But then there's Happy. He learns nothing. He tragically vows he's going to stay and fight and win the way his dad wanted to. He's basically guaranteeing that this toxic cycle is just going to keep on going.
And that leaves us with the big question, right? The one that makes this play still hit so hard today. Was Willy Loman's life a failure because of his own pride, his own lies, his own choices? Or was he a victim? A victim of a broken American dream that builds people up with promises and then just throws them away when they get old? You know, the real tragedy might be that the answer is, it's both.